Hi, I'm Jenny from Gigi's Picnic Basket, and you're watching Good Day Paris.
Welcome to Good Day Paris, and a big hello Paris and all of West Tennessee. I hope y'all are doing this well this evening, because I'm doing great. Thanks for tuning in. I'm so glad to be here. How is everybody liking this cooler weather? I'm telling you, it is my cup of tea to cool it down a bit. And it certainly has been nice. We had the doors open, the windows open all day today, so I hope it was as good at your place too. I know it's a welcome relief to a lot of people, not just me. Well, with fall right around our doorstep here and Halloween coming up in just a couple of weeks, really. You know, it's not going to be too much longer. Everybody's getting their pumpkins out and getting all the fixins going and hanging their wreaths on the doors. And I'd like to just mention that if you have a special event that you'd like posted here on Good Day Paris, please be sure to let us know by sending us an email at gooddayparistn@gmail.com. And while you're there, give us some feedback and let us know how we're doing, or maybe even send us some suggestions for guests. We would love to hear from you. Also, sign up for our newsletter by visiting myparistv.com. You'll stay informed about upcoming shows, events, and other news. And today, we're blessed to have with us in the studio Jennifer Culpepper. This lady hardly has time to catch her breath. She is so busy. Jennifer is our local professional volunteer helping out with three different organizations that help and bless a lot of people in the community here in Paris. And we're going to hear all about what she's got to share with us today and some information on how maybe even you can help as well. But before we bring her out, first, it's that time again. Yeah, that's right, it's good stuff to know time. And today, which is September 14th, and it's National Gobstopper Day. Now, I didn't even know what that was, but I just found out that that's a big old jawbreaker. So I was today old when I found that out. Willy Wonka would be happy about that. I love those things, but they really are hard to handle. Anyway, it's also National Cream-Filled Donut Day. And who doesn't love those? And it's also National Food is Medicine Day. There's so much truth to that. And you know, you are what you eat, so don't eat too many donuts, okay? It's also National Virginia Day, which recognizes it as one of the original 13 colonies. Also, some of the most famous Virginians happen to include Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, and Robert E. Lee. Like I said last week, be patient. National Tennessee Day is next month in October. And lastly, it's National Are You OK Day in Australia. Well, with everybody so busy each day, today is the day that we do take the time to check in with our friends and loved ones to make sure they are seriously okay and they're cared for. Let them know that, or even just listen to. Send them a text or do something today, because that's what day it is. Well, anyway, we sure do need to incorporate that in the US of A. And for September 14th birthdays, we have quite an assortment. Actor Walter Koenig turned 86 today. Well, who can name the character he played on TV? Does anybody know? Leave a comment if you have the answer. That'll be interesting to see which one of you knows. And actor Sam Neill turned 75 today. And as it turns out, Florida governor / presidential candidate Ron DeSantis turns 44 today. And just so you're aware of this, this is not an endorsement of any kind, just an interesting note, seeing as he has been in the news a lot lately. And today's his birthday. Now moving to this day in history. On this day in 1985, the Golden Girls made their television debut on NBC, and it lasted a full 7 seasons. That was saying something back in that day. Also on this day, back in 1814, that's jumping back a bit, Francis Scott Key wrote a poem as he watched Fort McHenry as it was under siege. And that poem was named, or I should say even titled, Defense of McHenry. But it was later put to music and became the famous Star Spangled Banner. So that's really interesting, isn't it? And finally, on this day in 1752, Great Britain and the colonies officially adopted the Gregorian calendar, switching from the Julian calendar, which was not as accurate. In fact, it was a full 12 days off. So when they switched on September 2nd, it instantly became September 14th. Talk about some time travel or missing time, huh? So there you have it, another week of good stuff to know. And we'll introduce our guest as soon as we get back after a word from Treasure Finding Mini Mall. Well, welcome back. Thank you for being with us tonight, and I'd like to also welcome Jennifer Culpepper. And I'd like to read just a little bio about her that we've got so that everybody is knowledgeable about who we have on tonight. And Jennifer is married to Jay Culpepper, and they have 4 grown children. Their oldest is a school counselor at Lakewood School, and their son is a teacher and coach at Inman Middle School. And their youngest 2, which are twin girls, are freshmen at the University of Tennessee at Martin. And they are members of Tennessee Valley Community Church, where she serves on the praise team. And you also have worked full-time for over 20 years at B&G Equipment in Paris as the office manager. And you also serve on the boards of Paris and Henry County Healthcare Foundation and Mary's Kids and Henry County Young Life.
Right.
Wow, that's like, where do you have time to breathe and all of that? That's a lot, and that's wonderful. So,
well, thank you. I just noticed as my children were getting older that I needed something to do to fill my time as they needed me less.
Right.
And I've always loved staying busy and staying involved and staying active. When they were in school, I volunteered for all of the PTO functions and served on the PTO boards and every booster club for every activity and sport that they were involved in. I would jump in there and try to help. And I realized the time was coming that they were going to be grown and flown, and I was going to need something to occupy my time. And so I have found other ways to do that.
You know, it's interesting, the kids do finally grow up and leave the nest, and it is the saddest thing. It was so hard for me, I don't know. Most people are, yeah, you know, they're going. I was like, no, stay. You know? It's so hard.
I've had moments of both. Moments where my husband and I look at each other and we're like, what do we do now?
I know.
And
Yeah.
times that we're like, this is great. We can do whatever we want
We
now.
can do anything we want. And it's like being married anew again, you know,
Right.
It's so interesting. Yeah, I used to walk from room to room holding my coffee just thinking, well, what should I do now, you know, now that they weren't in the house and right under your feet and always in your face asking questions. But yeah, those were some of the best years of my life, you know, that
It was
being
the
a mommy.
strangest thing. I walked in from work one day and I thought, oh, my house is still clean. It looks
still
just like it did when
clean.
I left it.
Yeah.
And then I was so sad.
I
because
know.
My house was still clean.
It's spotless.
Right.
I know.
And I never thought I would be sad about a clean house. but
I'm
it's
so
a
glad
little
to hear you
bittersweet.
say that, because that's exactly how I felt. And the dishes were all done and put away. And that just blows you away. And there's still toilet paper on the roll.
Right? No half-full water bottles and McDonald's
You don't have to
cups
scrub
and
the
Sonic
shower.
cups.
I know, but you know, oddly enough, we miss that.
Oh, yes.
We do
so
miss
much.
that. And then, you know, of course, then the grandkids come, and then it's like a whole new life again.
Right.
It's like, oh my goodness, this is better than before. Yeah, I know. And then the great-grandkids. Ay. It's always something. So I'm glad that you stayed involved with the booster and all that. That is really how you build, I think, a loving, healthy family, is that you're always there for them. You know, you're supporting every choice they make and being there. That's really big. And families today are kind of losing a little bit of that. Some of the families are. Some aren't, you know, but hopefully just listening to us today will help encourage people to get involved again, you know. Maybe they lose sight, you know. It's important to support your kids when they're playing ball or soccer or whatever they're playing, and whatever they're doing, if they're in band, you know, on the basketball team or whatever. It's so nice to know. And your kids are in Martin now.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes, they're keeping me on my toes with that, just getting started in their freshman year and figuring it out. But they're loving it so far, and
Oh, yeah.
I think they're going to do great. We've got one more that's going into education, and then the other one she's considering business or law, trying to decide which route she's
Awesome.
going. So,
Good choices.
but yeah, I was very blessed when my children were growing up to have a job that was flexible enough for me to
Right.
be involved during the day in school. But I always tried to encourage other friends and people that couldn't be involved during the day, find a way to be involved in the after-school activities. I found that it means so much to your children. I know you're worn out after a long day at work. You're
Yes.
tired, you've got other obligations, but
Yes.
looking up in those stands or in the bleachers or in the crowd at whatever your children are participating in, when you are there, it means something to them.
It
and when they
does.
look out and they don't have someone there, it means something to them.
It does.
also.
It's saying something to them without saying anything, right?
Right.
And, you know, I just can't, I'm still trying to get over the fact that you have, you know, 3 girls and 1 boy. You look like you're just out of high school to me. You look so young. Your skin's
appreciate
perfect like
that.
butter,
Oh,
you know, as they
thank you.
say. That's crazy. So you really do look too young to have that many.
I appreciate it.
And so you attend TVCC,
Correct.
Tennessee Valley Christian Church, and that is one amazing place, I
Thank
might
you.
say. I absolutely love your father preaching.
Thank you.
And so, yes, for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure everybody really does know you. I mean,
Most people.
most people probably do here in the area, that your dad is such an amazing teacher and just hitting it out of the ballpark every Sunday. It's amazing. And then you're on the praise and worship team.
Correct.
And my goodness, girl, your voice is just like an angel singing. And last night while we were in, I'm not just saying.
Thank you.
I mean it. I was down there and I had goosebumps for just felt like the Holy Spirit fell on us last night. It was the most beautiful time of worship, and so many people, all those beautiful voices.
It was amazing. And I'm blessed. My husband didn't play that night, but my husband plays the bass, and so a lot of Sundays he's on the praise team also.
I didn't know that. Okay, I'll be looking for him.
And then one of my twins, Phoebe, she sings on the praise team as well on Wednesday nights with the youth, and a lot of times on Sunday mornings. So
that's great.
It's a family affair.
Good, as it should be. You know, it's really so much better to have everybody together like that. I'm telling you, that is. You'll look back like I used to look back, because my kids were with me all the time at church, 3 times a week, you know how it is. And those are your best memories ever, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so sweet and precious. But and you know, seriously, I did not know that the whole family was doing something there. That is really cool. Now, do you do care groups during the week?
My husband and I have a small group that we attend on Wednesday nights that we're involved with, and then my daughter is involved. She's been involved with the youth group, but she's now a leader.
Oh,
now that she's in college, she comes back on Wednesday nights and works with the 6th grade girls on Wednesday nights in their small group.
God bless her. That is awesome. And now I want to ask you about the place that you worked for 20 years. You know, that is saying something. 20 years at one place. Right. I was 20 years at one place, so I understand. And you become a fixture after that much time, you know, almost. Now, it burned down, though. I had heard that it burned down.
It did. And I've actually been a fixture at B&G for 45 years.
Oh, my goodness.
My dad was the G in B&G.
Oh, okay.
And he retired from the business to be full-time at the church in 2006.
Okay.
And I had just started working there a few years prior to that, doing the office managing, and so I stayed and worked for his cousin who still owns the business. And I love what I do. I love the people that I work with, and hope to stay there for another 20 years until it's time for me to retire and travel. But yes, we did March 10th of this year, had a total loss fire.
Yes.
One of the scariest moments of my entire life.
I bet it was. So you were actually there during the fire?
Yes, it was during the workday, and
are you free to say whatever happened? Or
yeah, there was a piece of equipment that we think caught fire and started the whole thing, but it started in the shop, and our guys were at lunch, and so no one was back there when the fire started.
Oh, praise the Lord.
So it had gotten going really well before anybody realized that it was on fire.
Oh, wow. And you were in another section because you were in the office.
I was on the complete opposite side of the building.
Oh,
so
wow. That's a blessing.
I took my time to grab just a few things. We're talking less than a minute, just the things that I didn't want smoke damaged.
Right.
And by the time I turned back around, the whole place was full of smoke. It was,
that's
when
dangerous.
When it went up fast.
The smoke is what can really get you, because it can knock you right out, you know.
But
glad you got out of there.
We are ready to start rebuilding. The builders are supposed to be there probably in about 3 weeks to start putting up the new building, and we're excited about getting back in our old location with a nice new building.
Oh, how nice.
But there's a lot of memories that will never be replaced.
In all those years, yes, absolutely. Yeah, you just get used to it, you know. It's just your routine. That's how I loved my job so much. It was never a problem.
Right.
I didn't mind if I had to go in at 4 or 5 in the morning. It never bothered me. I was that happy with it, and I was always just so grateful to have a job, you know. Right. And it was a very good job, and, you know, paid me very well. And yeah, I was 20 years, so you're even longer than that there.
Right.
I mean, you really were. You were basically raised there.
But I have been an employee there for over 20 years, and like I said, hope to be for another 20. So
yes, wonderful. That's awesome. And now, so you're on the board of directors, and for Paris and Henry County's Healthcare Foundation. Correct. So Tell me what they're all about and what you do. They're a nonprofit, correct?
Correct. We
Okay.
are a nonprofit foundation that started in 1994 as a way for people to be able to donate tax-deductible funds
Okay.
in order to support healthcare in Henry County.
Okay.
We are not the hospital board. We are
Okay.
separate from that.
Oh, okay.
And we do things focusing on wellness education, outreach for the community, scholarships for students pursuing a career in healthcare. We do help with some capital improvement projects for the hospital. But it's things that the hospital couldn't do with the funds that they have because all of their funds have to go back into patient care.
Right.
And so a lot of the things that we do are things just to support education and healthcare in the community. Things that we've done over the past few years, some of the major things, we've got several students from Henry County High School that benefit from the scholarships every year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Several of those students have come back as nurses, different areas of healthcare in Henry County.
Excellent.
We have helped to fund the emergency management station at the lake when that was built. One of the big things right now, we've helped to provide funds for the redecoration and remodeling of the emergency room at the hospital.
Oh, nice.
Updated furniture and
And it needed it. Right.
Right.
That's great.
right. So we also have done things with the cardiac rehab program, educational materials for that. We provide assistance when people can't afford their prescription medications.
Oh,
Maybe there's a
really?
gap in their insurance funding.
Oh, how
They
wonderful.
don't have insurance. I know just recently we've had several requests for that we've helped provide life-saving medicines for people that couldn't afford them on their own.
Yeah, those prescriptions can really get out of hand financially. It's
Right.
amazing what some people tell me they pay.
Yeah.
As up to $600 a month, depending on what they need it for. But I mean, that's a steep bill.
It is. There are also different community education projects that we've done as far as health screening, diabetes awareness, weight management, healthy heart.
Where do you do the screenings at?
There are different places. A lot of them are at the hospital or just in the community at the clinics. They'll have different drive-up screenings sometimes, things
Okay.
like that. We have at least one fundraiser every year, which is the plant sale in the spring.
Oh.
And then we have started every other year now. COVID messed up a lot of things as far
It
as
sure
in-person
did.
fundraisers.
Oh boy,
But,
we're hearing that from everybody.
We
Yeah.
have casino night, and so we had that last
Oh,
year, and then we'll have that
yes,
again
I
next
was-
year.
yes,
And casino night is a lot of fun, and
That
it
was fun.
raises a lot of money for the Healthcare Foundation.
And was that up at the lodge, right?
Right, that was at the
Yes,
lodge,
okay, yeah,
so-
that's when I met your sister.
Okay. But we're looking forward to another one of those next year. And there are just a lot of things, transportation for patients that are having trouble making it to their appointments. We help provide things like that. Defibrillators for the EMS
Oh,
that
my
we've
goodness.
purchased.
You guys really are doing quite a bit.
Right, there's just a lot of things that need to be done in the community
Yes.
that we can do through this charitable organization that saves the money that the hospital is bringing in for patient care.
And then when people make donations to you, that is a tax-deductible gift,
Correct.
correct? Wow, that's great.
And it's not going to fund the hospital, it's going
It's-
to help
right.
patients and educate the
Right.
community and help
Which is even
provide,
better, yeah.
right, help provide services for the community as a function of the hospital, but not under the
Okay.
hospital's umbrella.
Wow, this is really interesting. And even though I was at that fundraiser last year, I thought it was the hospital. I'm sorry. I wasn't aware that it was what you guys were doing. So good to know. We're newer here. So I'm learning bit by bit.
We're providing support for the hospital through patient education and community wellness initiatives, things like that. So,
that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then you're also doing, I do want to, before I move any further, we do have a couple slides to bring up to show if you want to just talk about these.
Okay, yes. The website for the Henry County Healthcare Foundation can be reached through the hospital's website, which is hcmc-tn.org.
Okay.
And then under the About HCMC tab, there's a page for the Healthcare Foundation. And you can find lots of information there on the things that we do and ways that you can donate to the Healthcare Foundation.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Apply for the scholarships if you have a student attending college, getting ready to attend college. As the parent of college students, I know how important those scholarships are. And so if you have a student that's planning on going into the healthcare field, make sure you have them apply for those scholarships. But yeah, we have a lot of fun and are always needing additional board members or help with fundraisers. So we would love for you to reach out to us if you have.
And then you're also on Facebook too. I think we
Right,
have
there is
that.
a Facebook page also
now.
for the Healthcare Foundation. And so we've gone through a lot of changes and are trying to
Get the word out.
get the word out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay, so, and then you're also involved with something called Mary's Kids.
Right.
Okay, and that, I am really interested in hearing about that.
Okay. I probably light up a little bit when I talk about Mary's Kids. It's such a
That's a good
special
thing.
organization.
Yeah,
So a little background on Mary's Kids.
yeah.
A little lady named Mary Merton moved to Henry, Tennessee back in 1995. Miss Mary grew up in Illinois.
Okay.
And when she was 5 years old, her parents divorced, her father left, and her mother was not able to care for her and her brother on her own. So they ended up in an orphanage.
Oh dear.
So Mary grew up in the orphanage, and as she got older, became the head cook at the orphanage. Even though she was not an adult, she was still living as a child in the orphanage, but she cooked the meals and just fell in love with children and cooking and helping that way.
Oh, wonderful.
So then she married another young man who had grown up in the orphanage, and they had a son, and then her husband passed away.
Oh
And
dear.
by the time she was in her mid-40s, she had married and been widowed twice.
Okay. Oh
And
my goodness.
So she was still young, full of life, and moved to Henry, Tennessee. I'm not sure what brought her to Henry, but we're so glad that that's where
Yeah.
she ended up. She was in her 60s by this point when she moved to Henry, and she decided that she wanted to start helping children here. And so she started asking for donations from friends, family, people in the community, for clothing, bedding, toys,
Oh,
that kind of
what a little saint
things
she
for
was.
children. And then when Henry School would have their parent-teacher conferences, she would set up in a little room and parents could come in and shop for free for toys and clothing and things that
Oh,
they needed
how
for their
nice.
children. Then with the help of the school counselor at Henry, she organized a Christmas party. And for the underprivileged children in the school, their families, she was famous for her tacos. So they would have tacos and banana bread and desserts. And after a couple of years, other people started noticing what Miss Mary was doing, and they wanted to get involved and help. And so they named her little charity that she had started, Miss Mary's Christmas Kids. And then monetary donations started rolling in. And Champion Homes was in Henry at the time, the business that manufactures mobile homes. And some of their employees started supporting the group. And they had one employee in particular who would make a large donation every year. And his stipulation was that he wanted every child to receive a coat. So
Oh, that's
every
nice.
child would get a new coat.
Yes.
Then the management bought gift certificates for a local shoe store and said they wanted every child to have a new pair of shoes. And so over the course of 4 years, her organization had grown from serving approximately 20 children to serving over 50 children in Henry School.
Wow.
And these are children that don't get Angel Tree Christmas, they don't get any other assistance. The only Christmas gifts that they're getting from outside sources are through Mary's Kids.
Yes.
And she
Wow.
had been running the charity for 8 years when she passed away in 2004. But her friends in the community decided they didn't want her work to end.
Oh, that's
so
wonderful.
they have continued it, and I've only been on the board for about a year now, but I just absolutely love it. The board was established and a nonprofit was chartered and 501c3 was granted back in 2019. So all deductions to Mary's Kids are tax deductible. And we have just so many businesses in the community that help out and individuals that donate. And then at Christmas, we, as a board, we separate out different things, but we buy clothes, we buy toys, we buy shoes and coats, and provide a basket, like a food basket, for the family of that child to have Christmas dinner.
Oh, how
Like with
wonderful.
all the fixings and a ham and,
Oh,
and everything
my
they need for a
goodness,
Christmas
that's
dinner.
wonderful.
And so many volunteers show up for the giveaway.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
so it's just a really amazing organization. And I
Wow,
just
I hope
love it.
people listening will get involved. And how could they find you and reach out to you so that they could donate and be of some service?
We do have a Facebook page. You can search for Mary's Kids, Henry, Tennessee, on their Facebook page. We have a great group of board members, Miss Alana Tosh, Junior and Ella Milam, Chris and Donna Coley, Billy McKee, Lisa Harden, Karen Bowes, Janie Rowlett, or myself. So reach out to any of us. We'll be glad to let you get involved. And,
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And it's under the Henry Elementary School, Mary's Kids.
Well, the Facebook page is Mary's Kids Henry TN, but Henry School is the place because that's where Miss Mary lived, was in Henry, Tennessee. And so that
Okay.
is the school that we focus on as far as providing Christmas for these children. So
Okay. Oh, that is so sweet.
thank you.
What a great story.
I love Mary's Kids.
That is
I wish that I
great.
could have met Miss Mary,
Oh,
but I never
yeah.
got the opportunity. But I'm happy to be able to, anything that helps children, that's just where my heart is.
Yeah,
So,
it really is. I mean, they go through so much when they don't have that, full family. Like we were talking earlier, it's really difficult, and that is what they need more than anything, especially living here. A good coat and good shoes in the wintertime, and
Right.
I mean, my goodness,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Well, I definitely want to know about it this year, so make sure that I get something
Absolutely.
about that too. So I'll be checking things out, but in case I don't get to it, send me something so that I
I'll
can
be
be
glad
there
to.
for you. And last but not least, there's still more, and there's more.
There's more.
You're also a part of Henry County Young Life, and so
Right.
this is another amazing thing that you're a part of, and that's probably why you do look so young, because being centered on all this fun stuff like this, young stuff, this will keep you young. It does. It keeps I really think it's between your right and left ear. The
Right.
more you think about it and the more fun you're having, the younger you feel, like
Right.
that inner child kind of hang out with you.
Yeah.
So tell us about Young Life.
Okay, so Young Life has been in existence since 1941, but it's only been in Paris for about the past my girls were freshmen for the first year.
Okay.
So this will be the 5th year, I guess,
Yes.
that Young Life's been in Henry County. But what Young Life is, it is a Christian organization
Okay.
that reaches out to middle school, high school, and college students in all 50 of the United States and in more than 100 countries across the world.
Wow.
And the mission is to introduce adolescents to Jesus Christ and to help them grow in
Awesome.
their faith.
Yes.
The way that they do this, though, is the Young Life leaders. I'm not a Young Life leader. I'm maybe too old to be a Young Life leader. I don't know. They say you're not, though. But there are some amazing young people in our community that meet with these kids where they're at.
Yeah.
They have a presence at basically every sporting event, every band concert, every
Wow.
anything that the kids are doing, you're going to see Young Life leaders show up for them,
Great.
to support them, to get to know them, and just to meet them where they are. They have club on Thursday nights during the school year when school's in session, and
Where is that held?
it moves.
Oh, it moves
sometimes.
around. Okay,
Right.
okay.
It's not always at the same place.
Okay.
They have fun activities at club, though, and that's kind of just your gathering where you get to know each other and just
Yes.
have fun
Make
and
friends.
make friends.
Right.
And then they have campaigner events, which is more like a small group where the Young Life leaders meet with a group of girls or a group of boys that are all in the same age group. And that's where they really start to dig into the Word of God and get to know more about whether their spiritual needs are and help them there. And I know as my girls were in high school, getting to know their Young Life leaders, they knew that, I know it's shocking, but sometimes teenagers can't talk to their parents about just anything.
No, I know. That is very true. It is.
Even me. But they had these other young, understanding,
Yes.
supportive grown-ups that I trusted to give them sound advice. That
Right. Yes.
if you don't want to come to me, it's okay. Go talk to your, we have amazing youth leaders at our church also.
We do.
And
Yes,
this
we
Young
do.
Life doesn't take the place of your church youth group.
Right. It's just to come alongside.
Right. It's just
Yeah.
another organization where they can go and find support and find help. And
Yeah.
so not only did they have their youth leaders at church, but then they had their Young Life leaders that were there to support them and talk to if they
That
had
is
questions and if they were struggling with anything. And
You
then
know,
they,
it is interesting how kids will go to somebody else about something that maybe they're embarrassed or maybe they've even been bullied or something, and they are ashamed of that or something. You know, there's so many different obstacles for kids.
Right.
And sometimes you just want to reach out to somebody else. It's not a bad thing.
Right.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the parents, because I know you're an excellent parent, you and
thank
your
you.
husband. But, you know, it's just, it happens. So I hope people don't get offended when kids do that.
No.
But I think just about all kids I've ever interacted with seem to reach out to others. And it's better to have somebody positive
Right.
and God-fearing that your child can reach out to than somebody in the neighborhood who's going to take them down absolutely the
Exactly.
wrong path. So yeah, this is epic. Really, this is a
Right.
great thing.
and it was great to be able to say, okay, well, you've got this youth leader at church. You can
Yeah.
talk to your youth leaders here.
Yes.
You can talk to any of your Young Life leaders. And sometimes they just did both because they
Sure.
wanted multiple opinions
Yeah.
about something.
Yeah.
Sometimes as teenagers, we need to hear from multiple people
Yes.
that this is the
Yes.
wrong decision. This might be a better way to look
Yeah,
at
that might be a better way. And boy, I wish I would have had that when I was younger. We didn't
Right.
have things like this, back. Well, I'm not going to tell you how far back, but way back there.
Right.
And, we just didn't have that. We did have the church, but oftentimes that really wasn't enough. So, and sometimes it's because the people that are in the church, you don't identify with that person, and being a teenager is just such a difficult time anyway.
Right.
You're finding your wings, you're finding your voice, you're finding so much, but you need to find Jesus at that point in your life so
Yes.
that the rest of your life has purpose.
Right.
And you make all these right decisions, because boy, it can really set your path off if you're not in the right place at that point.
Right.
Especially before girlfriends and boyfriends and all that start showing up in your life,
And that's one
It's a
great
tough
thing about
time.
Young Life is that Young Life encourages them to stay involved in their church and to be involved with their youth group at church, it doesn't try to pull them away from that. Our young life leaders encourage them to be involved in both.
Yes, yes.
And so I've always really appreciated that about them. They have camps that they go to, like church camps,
That's awesome.
They have to leave their cell phones.
Yes.
They don't get to have their cell phones for their
I'm
weekend
glad to
or
hear
their week
that.
at camp.
Yeah, those cell phones have really been, they've become
Right.
quite a problem.
And it's just amazing
Yeah.
seeing what God can do when they unplug for a week.
That's
and
right.
Get away
Shut
from their
that thing
phone
off.
and get away from all the drama of social media and friends and
Yes.
just be
It means everything,
in the
and it makes
wilderness,
such a
so.
difference. When you're plugged into that, you are not focused on what you need to be focused. And I just have to share something. It's interesting how when I was younger, I would have that, music turned up about as loud as I could take it, because I really did enjoy that loud music. And it wasn't always worship music.
right.
And I remember hearing, the voice say to me, and I know it was from God, shut that off. And I thought, oh, okay, and I shut it off. And then I thought, boy, it sure is quiet. And it was so uncomfortable to be in that quiet place. And then that quiet place became my refuge. I loved that quietness.
Right.
And then I started not wanting the other at all, because you do transition when you're focused on the Lord and what He's telling you to do. So I would read something from the Bible and then get in my car and drive without the music. Man, what a difference. So this is what these kids are doing. And I can tell you in my own life, it was 100% difference to find some quiet and connect with the Lord. I just pray that these kids are doing that, because they walk around literally. It's like a 24/7 thing. They even take it to bed and put it right on the pillow, which I understand is actually very unhealthy for you because of the radiation and all the different things, that are in that little, I guess it's a computer.
Right.
It's a full computer. Wow.
Yeah. So, but our Young Life group is doing amazing things, and they are completely supported by donations also. And so
Okay.
we have a banquet every year, but anyone who's interested in supporting Young Life, reach out to me. I'll be glad to get you in contact with Hannah. She's our staff member in Henry County, and that is her job, is to coordinate this and keep activities going for our young people and
Yes.
stay involved with them.
And the website is up here, so if they went to
Yes.
there, just the contact us, they would
Yes.
just click on contact us, and then they'd get Hannah to respond.
Right.
Okay.
And we have, our group is in Northwest Tennessee group, which includes Huntington, McKenzie, Martin, Paris, and Union City.
Oh, no wonder why it moves around then, because you've
Right.
got
Well,
a really big area.
but the Paris group meets together, the McKenzie group meets together.
Oh, I see.
But then there are activities where the whole
Everybody
Northwest
gets
Tennessee
together.
gets together.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
that's
it's really
wonderful.
neat. And they meet other kids from other communities that way and develop friendships through that too. So it's a great program, and I really love it. And I love our Young Life leaders. They are an amazing group
That's
of young
wonderful.
people. So
Absolutely wonderful. Well, good for you. Bravo. You're really in there working hard. This is great.
I just have to find something to stay busy so I don't miss my kids so much.
Well, trust me, nothing you do will ever really replace that.
Oh, no.
I'm still missing them, and they're older than you, some of them, some of them. And so, it's funny how that goes. But yeah, they're what it's all about.
That's right.
They really are. Family is what it's all about. And I hope people can get that while they're young.
Yeah.
These youngins need to figure that out now.
Yeah.
Some of them don't, but we're trying to get the word out so that they do. Well, this is great. Well, good grief, we're almost at the top of our hour, and it's really been nice having you here. This has been refreshing to hear about all these different things, and I really do want to get some emails from you about being involved in these kinds of things, because I think like you, it's important.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage everyone, find something that you're passionate about.
Yes, right.
Find a way to volunteer. Find a way to give back.
Right.
No matter how small you feel like it might be. We have some amazing organizations in Henry County.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
And-
overwhelmed by all we have.
There are so many ways for you to get involved, whether it's just donating a few dollars here and there, making treats or food for someone's function that they're having,
Yeah.
or volunteering a few hours at a food bank, or helping with sort through donations at Tomorrow's Hope or at the Shed.
Oh my gosh,
You know,
Tomorrow's
we've
Hope,
got
that's another amazing
so
thing,
many
isn't
great
it?
groups and people that are giving back to our community, and there's just no better feeling than knowing that you are doing something to give back to the community that has given to you.
You know, Tennessee is known as the volunteer state. And I have never seen so many people volunteering. And I don't know if it's just because we're here in Tennessee, but I'm telling you, I am so impressed with the amount of service that people give to one another here. This is a great place for that.
It really is.
And all of Tennessee, I just know so many different places and peoples in Tennessee where everybody has a heart to volunteer and support one another. It's just a beautiful thing. And we're trying to do that here, you know, and bring attention to all the different things so people
Right.
know. When you move in and you're a newbie, you don't necessarily know what's out there, you know.
Right.
And if we didn't go to this church, we wouldn't know about that, most likely, unless somebody brought it to us, you know. So this is great news, and thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Thank you for
Your
letting
whole
me
family
come talk about it.
You guys are such servants. It's really impressive.
It's amazing to be able to see lives changed.
Yes.
And I just have been blessed being raised in Henry County. And I know most every teenager that grows up here thinks that as soon as they get the chance, they are getting as far away from small town as they can. But it's
Don't
amazing
do
how many
it.
of us come back
Don't
here.
do it.
There is, in my opinion, there is no better place to raise a family. I have loved it. It's been a community effort to raise our children together.
Yes. Yes.
I have amazing friends who have walked side by side with me with all of our children growing up, and I just can't imagine living anywhere else to raise my family.
That's right, and those big cities are not the answer. I can actually attest to that. The bigger the city, the more trouble there is in it, and
Sure.
you know, it's better to stay home. and do what you're doing, you know, get involved, jump in, these kids. But, you know, I do see a lot of them jumping in, helping their mamas and daddies, and the ones from the farm families, and it's so impressive.
Yeah.
And so many at church are doing so much. And
Right.
even at church, there's so much volunteering.
Yeah.
I'm just amazed by it.
Yeah. It's
So-
definitely not a church that wants you to come and just sit.
And sit, no. No pew sitters at TVCC
That's right.
or pew warmers, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's get involved.
There's a place for everyone to get involved.
There
so.
is, and great messages. Like I said earlier, your daddy, and of course your sister used to be here with me,
Right.
and what an angel she is too.
She is.
Oh my
She's
goodness,
amazing.
your whole family.
Well, thank you.
You know, it's just a huge success story.
I was very blessed to have been born into the family I was.
Oh yes, you
have an
have.
amazing family.
And I'm glad
so.
you know that, because you truly are.
Yes.
You truly are. And thank you again so much for
Thank
being here
you.
tonight.
It's been wonderful.
Yes, thank you. And we'll have to have you back again and hear about what you guys are doing next year.
Okay. I'll be happy to come back.
Okay, great. Well, I just want to thank everybody for being with us tonight. And as we wrap up and end tonight's broadcast, I want to remind everyone to tune in to the Tennessee Informer with Dave Vance every Monday to stay up to date on all the goings-on in Tennessee politics. So log on to tninformer.com to learn more about that. Dave always has interesting and notable guests discussing topics that are important to all citizens of Tennessee. That's every Monday at 7 p.m. only at tninformer.com. Well, that's it for today, and if you want to join me in wishing everybody a good day, Paris, we'll sign off and say, Have a good
Good
day,
day,
Paris.
Paris.